All right, take two, because I've just been live to discuss this topic and something's gone wrong and it's disappeared. So we're going to go again. So, cancel culture, freedom of speech, and the ability to think for yourself. So, right now, the world is a place of extremes. On one side, you've got people who are offended by everything, things that they should not be offended by, things that, are just unbelievable. Too PC, too soft, can't do or say anything for fear of offending somebody somewhere. But then at the same time, we've got the other side. We've got the people who are determined to offend everybody, to push the boundaries of what is acceptable in order to get followers, to get likes, to make money off of, the content that they're putting out. Because the more traction that a piece of content gets, the more money that person's going to make. It's pretty simple. Regardless of whether the content is good or bad, they don't really care. All they care about is getting people to look at their stuff. Whether you agree, you disagree, you want to tell them they're the best, you want to tell them they're a piece of shit, it doesn't matter. It's all the same to them. The good stuff, the bad stuff, it's all eyeballs. It all makes money. And the more extreme, the more eyeballs that there tend to be. Because even the people who rampantly disagree and hate what's being said, they're still going to watch it, they're still going to read it, they're still going to comment on it. So regardless of whether it's good or bad, it's still getting traction. And this is where cancel culture comes in, something that's been discussed quite a lot recently with certain figures that I'm not going to go into. It's the argument that people either should or should not be cancelled. And it's got this idea that, is shutting down someone's account compromising their freedom of speech? So here's my opinion. And I've said this before and I'll say it again because I believe it. Everyone is entitled to their opinion, but not everyone should be sharing their opinions, especially if what you're sharing is hateful and damaging or in some way spreading sexism, racism, homophobia, or any kind of hate based content. If that's what you're putting out there and you're putting it out there consistently, you should be cancelled. I get it. Everyone messes up. Everyone says stupid things occasionally. Everyone says things that they wish they could take back. A one-time incident, that's fair enough. We're human, we mess up. But if you're consistently putting out hateful stuff, then yes, you deserve to be cancelled. Especially if what you're putting out is getting in the hands of people who are easily influenced, so younger, more vulnerable people. We live in a world now where not many people have the ability to think for themselves. They can't decide what they want to believe because they've never been taught how. Very few people can objectively look at something, consider it from all the different angles, and then decide how they feel about it. And that's okay, it's a skill that you need to learn, it's a skill that you have to be taught, something that has to be practiced. And there aren't many people teaching now. And as a result of that, everyone's confused. Everyone wants to be led. Everyone wants to be told what to do. And like I said, that's okay to a degree, because there are times where everybody will need to be led. There'll be times where we need to learn from someone else, because we can't learn skills and develop without following others. But this is where we get the problem. When the people who are being followed are inciting hate and they're building up their little armies of assholes, this is the issue, and it becomes a double problem, because the behavior of the little army of assholes over here then justifies the behavior of the snowflake squad over here. And we end up with a war with extremist behavior on both sides, whilst the rest of us sit in the middle observing this madness. Now, I am taking the piss a little bit here, and that's okay, because I like to take the piss. It's probably offending someone, but that's okay. There's a lesson. You got to be mindful of who you follow and whose words you're taking on board. Because the worst part about all of this is that in spouting hateful nonsense, most people are not even believing it themselves anyway. They're saying these things just for the sake of getting eyeballs, for the sake of getting followers. They don't even believe what they're saying. And that's compounded by people who are not hateful by nature. They're good people, but they're sharing this stuff without really considering if they believe it or not, and what the implications of them saying they agree will be long term. There are a lot of great people out there who are aligning themselves with assholes simply because they've tagged onto one little thing that that person has said and lost sight of the bigger picture. They've become blind to all the other stuff that these people are doing. You know, they're latching on because it's what everybody else is doing. They're following. So what I want to really hammer home here is the point that you need to be able to listen, you need to be able to learn, but ultimately you have to think for yourself. Know what you value, know what you believe in, and then no one can lead you astray. Now, of course, that takes practice, it takes skill, it takes time, it takes development. But if we all worked on that, then we wouldn't have these extremes of people who are massively offended by everything. We wouldn't have these extremes of people who are purposely trying to offend everybody. We would all be a lot happier, a lot healthier mentally if we had the ability to think for ourselves and choose what we believe in based on what we actually care about, not what we think we should care about because it's what everybody else is doing. So that's my opinion on cancel culture, and I would love to hear yours. Drop in a comment. Let me know your thoughts on this.